Now, guess it would help if I turned the microphone on, right? Hi, everybody. Coming up on 11:46, got brand new information on Idalia. As always, you can get the latest at the bottom of the screen. I've recaptured the latest advisory with the expectation that Idalia becomes a major Category 3 hurricane set to make landfall later tonight. Folks, it is past time to prepare for this in Florida. It is now time to solidify those preparations in Georgia and South Carolina, as this is going to pack a punch as it rolls through the area. Let me show you what's going on right now. If you're watching, please let me know where you're watching from. We've got some terrible rain across the area right now in the Carolinas. And as always, you can subscribe to my channel for additional updates. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for severe weather alerts. No matter what is going on, I will be committed to keeping you informed. Across the Western Carolinas right now, we've got some significant rain. I mean, these are some efficient rainmakers. That's been the case here. The rain has been very spotty, but where it does rain, like last night, it comes down in buckets. Live Super Doppler 4, our very own Doppler radar, gives us that instant look at where it's raining and where it's storming. We've got a pretty good storm rolling across Greenville, Spartanburg, Gaffney. Lots of lightning and heavy rain, putting down efficient amounts. We're talking 1.5 to 2 inches in those areas. Let's pull out a little bit, talk about the severe threat today. There is not one, although there is a stalled out front sitting across the Carolinas, Georgia to Alabama. Tomorrow, there is a severe concern toward the Carolina coast as Idalia begins to move north. And then by Thursday, I'm telling you, Thursday and beyond, good timing here for a big holiday weekend with tourism. You want to see things clearing out. It looks like we will. But of course, our thoughts, our concerns, our prayers for folks in Florida right now as things are about to go downhill. What you can expect over the next 12 hours in Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Asheville, low to mid 70s turn into the low 80s this afternoon. A good chance for rain even into the overnight hours. This front's basically stalled out right over us, just giving us that rain. It's a very gloomy look to our sky cams outside and considerably cooler than we have seen here lately. Let's get right to the forecast with Idalia. The advisory at 11 o'clock came out. A little bit deeper in pressure, a little bit stronger. The next 12 hours are crucial for Idalia as it is expected to undergo some rapid intensification. I'm going to do some analysis on the satellite here in just a moment because having that technology, folks, honestly can save lives. This is honestly a terrifying look to the satellites. You've got a Cat 5 storm right here. You've got another hurricane right here. Franklin is a buzzsaw. It is just potent right now. Thankfully, not a threat to the United States. Let's look at the track with this. Expected to become a Category 3 hurricane, winds up to 127 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour, I should say. That's just about 5 miles per hour away from being a Cat 4. So it's a high-end Cat 3. Then it moves toward Georgia. Then it moves toward the Carolina coast, where it looks like it's going to parallel the Carolina coast, which is bad news because from Savannah north, really St. Simon's Island north, it's going to provide for some storm surge, beach erosion, which has been a problem here for Isle of Palms, Myrtle Beach, Garden City in past years. We just really can't catch a break, and here we go with another threat for that. This storm's going to kind of do some weird things after it leaves the Carolina coast. You might have seen some of the models. I didn't share it because it is a very low chance that it does, and it would be very weak, probably not even a named storm anymore. It'd just be a swath of moisture. But some of the models are showing it curving back around near Bermuda and then coming back toward the east coast of Florida as just some moisture. But that's basically our models picking up on a signal that there's very poor steering currents here after the system moves offshore. So let's talk about the differences. It's expected to be a Category 2 later today. So what does that look like? Well, a Category 2 can have winds up to 96 to 110 miles per hour. We'll probably get there by 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock today and probably get to a Category 3 by 8, 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Shallow trees could fall over. You get significant power loss with a Category 2. And look at the storm surge, 3, 4, 5 feet. Now, that's an average. Of course, depends on where you're at on the coast as to where things can go downhill. But really, I would plan on Category 2 storm surge and possibly gust up to that from Tampa northbound, okay? Again, don't let your guard down in Tampa and a lot of central Florida because of the fact that this thing could really get close to Cat 4 in strength. And I got to tell you, the more it gets strong, just like we saw with Ian last year, the stronger it gets, the more it's going to lean to the right or try to go to the right. Again, I'm watching the chat here. I got YouTube up. I've got Twitter. I've got WYFF. I've got kind of a control center here. I can see all of your comments. Please give me an idea of where you're watching from right here. Hi from Gray Court. Somebody's asking if this is a feeder band from Idalia. It is not. What we're getting in the Western Carolinas right now is actually from a stalled out frontal boundary. Category 3 hurricane, this is when it turns major. This is when you get significant impacts to infrastructure. Winds are up to 129 miles per hour. Major home damage. The roofs you see are shaking there. Fallen trees, block roads, power and water are out for days, if not weeks. This is a significant impact. Now, when you jump to a Category 4 hurricane, this is when it turns much more significant. Roofs are blown off homes. Not much is left of a home in a Cat 4 where you get a direct hit. That's because winds are up to 130 miles per hour, all the way to 156. Catastrophic damage. Almost all trees are down. Power and water are out for weeks. The infrastructure itself takes a huge hit with a Category 4, and we're inching close to that. The wind speed forecast for landfall is right now set at 125 miles per hour. And as I've told you guys, this little inside baseball to meteorology, National Hurricane Center will kind of up those a little bit as we go. You don't see big jumps in that. They're leaving room to do that as we get closer. The last thing you want is to jump to a Cat 4, then back to a Cat 3. Think about what that does to social sciences. You think about mentally what that would do. Oh, it's now a 3, not a 4. Even though this is a significant hurricane, even at a Cat 2, just social sciences would tell you when you change a forecast from a higher to a lower forecast, people don't take it as seriously. It can be dangerous. So you won't see that. What you'll see is a graduate up and a pretty good confidence that it's going to stay up. And that's why you have a Cat 3 in the forecast right now. I'm going to show you Cat 4. It's not expected to be a Cat 5, but a Cat 5 has significant storm surge. Most framed homes are completely destroyed. Trees, poles, they're down. Power is out for as much as months there. Okay, not expected to be quite that strong, but it is a powerful hurricane. We are close enough to the United States now where we're tapping into radar, and just like we expected, things are going downhill in Florida. We've got a tornado warning, and tornado concerns are going to continue to grow. And here we are, folks, coming up on 11:53. I'll go ahead and tell you, Perella is coming up here with that new track on WYFF News 4. So if you're near your TV, go ahead and turn that on. She's going to have the very latest with that. And of course, you can get the latest forecast at any time by downloading the WYFF4 mobile app. It's a great tool to keep you apprised to warnings and watches too, even when you're on the go and traveling on vacation. So there you go, Fort Myers south to Naples. We've got some tornado concerns as some of these outer bands do begin to move on in. But here it is. You got a clearly defined eye wall, although you're not seeing it right now on satellite. We will later today, and there it is. This is a powerful strengthening hurricane that's out over the open water. And what's happening here is you're getting the tops of this storm. It's like a chimney. You get storms that grow, and as they do, you're going to grow it up. It's a mess back there. My kids. All right, grows, and then the jet streams coming in to steer this thing, it shoots the top of these storms off. You don't want too much of that for a storm if you're a storm that wants to grow, because wind shear will tear it up. But this is just enough wind shear to kind of help the storm vent, and we're seeing that happen right now. I can show you that on the satellite. Let me blow it full screen right here. There you go. Just phenomenal, the technology that we have nowadays to be able to analyze these storms, of which we did not have even 2-3 years ago. All right, I'm going to pause it right here, and I'm going to draw the jet stream on because the jet stream's dipping in somewhere like that, and it's coming in like that, okay? It's just enough. It's gentle enough to help this storm breathe. Basically, it's making it more efficient, an efficient machine. What's happening here is the storm is breathing better. It's upward motion with the storms is going up, and then the jet's helping it vent that top of the storm off, and the faster that it can vent that top off, it's allowing the rising motion to go faster. So that's why you get rapid intensification. And now the winds are at 80 miles per hour, sustained winds at 80 miles per hour. So it is getting stronger with this storm. And it's because the upper level conditions are conducive for that. And as you know, I don't need to tell you how warm the Gulf of Mexico is right now. And at this point, back to average. It's back to normal, 80, 85, 88 degrees, maybe within 2 degrees of where it should be. But every degree matters when you're talking about heat content and the impact that it can have on tropical systems. So here we are. Folks, this is rough. This is going to be a rough day, a rough night for areas in Florida as this continues to push toward the north, and this is a strengthening system. You don't see it on the satellite, but you did on the radar there. A very clear eye wall will poke through here with this storm later today. Storm surge concerns continue to grow. I've got an average of 8 to 12 feet here, and again, Tampa north, you need to be dialed in on this, as I'm sure you are, watching your local stations. And, of course, for my friends in Central Florida, please tune into my colleagues at West 2. Tony and the team are on top of this and have been since day one. So I'd urge you to tune in there. Tampa, you could get 4 or 5 feet of storm surge. Same story to Sarasota. I mean, not to the same degree, but you got a monster just offshore. But you get up here towards Cedar Key, where this thing's expected to make landfall just west of Ocala, Chiefland, Yankeetown. I mean, we're talking about just some serious storm surge here that could approach 18 feet, maybe even 20 feet. I mean, you got a Cat 3, almost a Cat 4 making landfall right here. That's going to send the water where it should not be. Let me see if I can turn on the normal coastline. There you go. You got to think, I mean, there are homes in here. There are businesses. There is a lot in here. That's where the coastline normally is. Let me turn the storm surge back on. Look how much of the coastline's underwater. Just incredible, folks. My prayers are with everybody down there. I would just pray right now that a lot of folks are just leaving this area. It can be unsurvivable, and I don't use that word lightly. That's something that National Hurricane Center and NOAA exercised last year with Ian. I mean, when you hear those words, unsurvivable, I mean, in essence, you got 130 mile per hour winds almost coming in along with 20-foot storm surge. So you've got to go up higher in your home to escape the storm surge. And then on top of that, you've got the wind coming in, the equivalent of a strong tornado coming right over your home consistently for hours. I mean, a tornado will pass by in seconds. A hurricane will sit there and just pound your home for hours and hours and hours. Indeed, this would be unsurvivable in some locations. So, when we're talking about deaths and rescues that happen in tropical situations, it's almost always related to water and having to be pulled away from high water. So, again, just a dangerous situation and certainly could be dangerous up the coast. I want to show you this because I know a lot of you are watching right now from Jacksonville North. Where are my Jacksonville people? Where are my St. Simon's Island people? I had a couple of Bear Island friends in here from Brunswick North. My family loves this area. We're talking about 3 to 5 feet of storm surge, which may bring some surprising amount of water inland. And I say that because of the timing. This thing's going to move through this area tomorrow evening. And as it does, it's going to coincide with high tide. And not only that, an extra high tide. When we're talking about this storm possibly arriving near a lunar high tide, the king tides are making flooding already with the rain that we have over the Carolinas and Georgia right now. So this could bring water to some areas of Georgia coast, including Tybee Island in here. Let's go up through Darien. There's coastal Bryan County. I mean, this could be flooding, certainly. Could be surprisingly so. There's Savannah and there's Tybee Island. I mean, you got Highway 80 going out to town. You know that can flood with an extra high tide anyway. Wilmington Island, Whitmarsh Island, Isle of Hope, Skidaway. Tybee Island could have some serious flooding. In fact, this storm surge model from the National Hurricane Center shows a lot of Tybee could be flooded for a period of time if this coincides with the king tide, which we think it may. Defusky Island up to Hilton Head Island. Notice Hilton Head's got a little bit higher elevation here, especially closer to the airport. We've got a lot of Hilton Head that's seeing some flooding as well. Then you go up here toward Edisto. Storm surge values of 3 to 5 feet. Folly Beach to Charleston, up through Isle of Palms. Isle of Palms could have some problems here from Wild Dunes toward the Strip. I mean, this could be some pretty serious flooding as a big push of water comes on through. And I'm going to show you that model in just a second because it's the way that the storm parallels the coast. It could really continue on that path and give some areas quite a bit of an impact there. The spaghetti models are in, and I'll go ahead and tell you, folks, it's doing some funky things here. I want to caution you, the first, to a hurricane-weary Florida, the last thing I want is to worry anybody, but these models are showing that the system could turn right back around, loop back toward Florida, which is possible, but it will not be a tropical entity anymore. It'll be just kind of a blob of moisture. It will have been obliterated basically through the jet stream. This is basically my model data telling me it doesn't know where it's going to go. I know where it's likely to go. It's probably going to do something like this and just kind of fall apart here south of Bermuda. However, the entity, the core, could start to kind of rotate back around, which would be just a slug of moisture, a slug of extra humidity, if you will, a wave possibly. But the steering currents slack up. We do think it's going to be far enough away from the Carolina coast that it should not impact Labor Day weekend. I know that's a big concern, as you're hoping to continue your plans and to keep this thing away, get it away from us. And it, in all intents and purposes, it should, okay? It should go on out there and kind of fizzle out south of Bermuda somewhere as it gets caught up into some higher winds. Our global models, the Canadian and the American are still dead set on I-95. While the Euro has trended a little bit farther inland, it's now directly over Charleston, which would put some of the strongest wind and rain there. But you got to think on a track with any one of these, you've got wind that is coming in like this, just a consistent pounding to the coast, okay? Because I'm going to turn the camera around. You got to look at it from the storm's perspective. Let me flip this bad boy around. Where am I at here? All right. Here we go. Now you're looking at a map, which may make you dizzy because it does me. You're looking at the map from the perspective of Idalia, okay? Let's just go back here. So as it's approaching, is this cool or is this confusing? Let me know, folks. I hope this is cool. I hope this helps you out. You're looking at it from the perspective of the storm. So the storm's coming in here like this, and always the worst part of a storm is on the right side. So right now, you've got some of those winds and the rain. Basically, you've got a rush of wind and water. Imagine, I've got little ones bathing the baby at night, and just with both your hands pushing down my baby does this, makes a big mess. Push down the water with both your hands. It sends out a little wave, right? Well, imagine a major Cat 3, Cat 4 hurricane doing that, and to a much greater extent, it's pushing the Gulf of Mexico, not a bathtub. And in this case, it sloshes water, for a lack of a better term, into the coast. And from Fort Myers to Tampa Bay to areas north through the Big Bend. I mean, we're talking about a serious wall of water. Then it moves over land, okay? Let's go to perspective over coastal Georgia. To some degree, even the east coast of Florida. My friends watching right now in Daytona Beach and Jacksonville Beach. I mean, you're going to have a degree of that push of water as well. All right, let's get up here toward coastal Georgia and the Carolinas, especially the Carolinas. This rides right along the coast. It reminds me a lot of Matthew. Now, I know Matthew brings back some absolutely terrible memories for you folks in Savannah. It made my in-laws retire in Greenville, South Carolina, instead of Savannah. They love it up here too. But I'm telling you, that storm was terrible for Richmond Hill, for Savannah, up through Hilton Head Island. Significant amounts of trees were down. And, this is going to be a very powerful hurricane with a tropical storm at this point. Winds up to 60 miles per hour. That's a big push of wind and water that will be pushing up the Carolina coast, and then it moves out to sea. All right, let's show you our high-resolution model on top of our GFS model. So the GFS has trended a little more inland today. Notice how the yellow is on the right side of the envelope. There's a lot more green than on the left side than the right side of the yellow. That means that this storm may trend inland on the next GFS model. You're looking at 26 different runs of the GFS, and the ensemble members kind of control what the main operational member does. The European is a lot farther east, but it has trended more west today than it did yesterday, but it's still offshore for the most part, with some of its members being closer into Columbia. But simply put, for us in the Western Carolinas, Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Asheville, Atlanta, Charlotte, here's what could happen. This thing really intensifies, ramps up, makes landfall near Cedar Key. That's still looking to be true. Then it moves toward the north where it's over Hilton Head Island, and there's that big rush of wind I was telling you about a minute ago, just pushing that water inland. And if that coincides with high tide, which is between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, depending on where you're at in the coast, that could cause the high tide to be extra high on the average of 3 to 5 feet. So for areas like Folly Beach, Isle of Palms, even the waterways, I mean, it's going to bring that water up higher. And a track like this will actually bring a little bit more rain into areas like Greenville and Spartanburg, Greenwood, wherever you're watching from right now in the upstate. It could be rainy and will be windy going into Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. We've still got the system over Hilton Head, and then it's starting to pull away Wednesday night to where by midnight and beyond, the worst of it's pushing out to sea. When you wake up Thursday morning, this thing's moving away and should be improving considerably. Here we go into the afternoon hours. Cedar Key north, you've got 80, 90, 100 mile per hour winds with this model. Then it pushes it up toward the north and over Georgia, where that core begins to weaken somewhat, but nonetheless still very powerful. You got wind gusts in the Western Carolinas around 30 to 35 miles per hour. Rainfall totals on the order of an average of 3 to 6 inches would be a decent bet, but you see here some areas will get closer to 9, 10 inches of rain as it pushes farther to the north. Again, watching closely with the radar and the expectations here for Western Carolinas. We've got some heavy rain sneaking into Abbeville and Greenwood, Greenville, Spartanburg, basically up to the mountains probably. We'll have the rain heavy at times through the evening, and then it pulls away. By midnight and beyond, we're drying out. By the time you wake up Thursday, the sun's out, birds are chirping. Highs are in the low to mid-70s going into Thursday and Friday for that matter too. Wind gusts are going to get up to around 15 miles per hour by the afternoon and pushing up to 30 to 35 miles per hour by the time we get to Wednesday evening, and then things simmer down going into Sunday. So the European model wants to show this kind of hanging out. Friday, September 1st would be this moving out to sea. Then it kind of meanders it out there through Labor Day. Then it gets on its way. And it wants to kind of wobble it back. So, I mean, this thing could do a little dance for a little while. I have to watch that, but it looks like it gets far enough away from the United States for Labor Day weekend that we don't have any problems out of it. There's the GFS, and it's showing it getting gobbled up by some upper-level troughs digging on in. So there's the way things are shaking up right now. We've got Idalia, Jose, and Katia next on the list. Folks, if you don't already, another opportunity, please, if you appreciate my style of forecasting. It's not the same as a lot of people, and frankly, the way I do weather here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram is a little bit different than I do it on TV. I think there's a different platform for everybody, and if you can appreciate my style of forecasting, it's no nonsense, and frankly, my goal with forecasting like that is to keep you informed. I think knowledge is power when it comes to severe weather, and the more that I can tell you, the more transparent I can be in a responsible manner. Of course, somebody could run with what I say and say, well, he said that. Well, no, I told you that's possible. I'm going to tell you the ceiling, but I'm also going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to level with you. I'll tell you when it's time to be concerned. I'll also tell you when it's not. And if you can appreciate that level of forecasting, I'd be very grateful for you to subscribe to my channel and follow my pages there. Much more coming up today on WYFF News 4 at noon. Perella's on right now. You'll catch her full forecast if you switch on over right now, 12:17. And throughout the day, we will be watching it as we go throughout each hour. Count on additional updates. I'll be working on a more in-depth video here after this. And later today and tomorrow, we'll go into some hourly updates, folks. My goal is to keep you informed along the way. Sure appreciate your time.